Welcome to the show. Earlier this week, state lawmakers voted overwhelmingly to override Governor Hogan's veto of a bill intended to further increase Maryland's use of renewable energy. Henry, what do you think it says about the governor's positions to have Democrats override him in this manner?
Well, I think the governor's looking out for Marylanders' pocketbooks. Doing some quick math, they're estimating this is going to be somewhere between $40 to $50 a year out of a Marylander's household pocketbook to pay for increased energy costs. Then we have to deal with the alternative sources of energy, solar. We're not really in an ideal solar location. Wind, which is, we have some mountains out west and we have the bay, but we're going to put those albatrosses out in the middle of the bay to collect the wind power. And then alternative sources, which I guess sort of leaves a plethora of other things. I just think, it's Annapolis being Annapolis, that the Miller and Bush crew have their agenda, and anything to try to marginalize the governor, I think that's what they're looking to do.
So, as you mentioned, about $50 or $60 is going to be the impact on the consumer. I mean, do you think there's going to be much backlash from? Well,
I mean, if you say $50, $60, so we're looking at a couple dollars a month increase on it. Okay, so you leave your air conditioner, run at 70 degrees instead of 71 degrees, and you have that additional dollar that you're going to pick up during the summertime. It's not that much of an increase, but when you start to, because the utilities are going to pass the expenses back onto us as a consumer. They're not going to absorb, I think the high number was about $112 million to implement this annually. They're not going to absorb that type of loss. And plus, most of these costs are going to be benefiting companies that are not within the state of Maryland.
Right, and I that's where my point of contention is as well, is that a lot of that money is going to be going out of the state of Maryland, and I think there is going to be a little bit of an uprising, even though it's not a huge cost to us as the consumer. Ron, what's your take on the increase?
I believe in working the energy the other way, alternative energy. I believe we've just at Goodwill put in all new solar ceilings, solar panels on our roof. We've put in an acre of solar outside. We put a new roof on, but inside in our ceilings we've put LED lights, which has cut our cost about $1,500 a month in cost for electrical usage, just for the things that we did with LED lights inside. Unless you give incentive for power companies and force power companies to do things, I've watched my bill creep up and creep up and creep up without using alternative source energy, and I don't think it's going to creep anymore now. Is it going to go up a little bit? It may. So, like you said, set your temperature a little bit.
Those things happen, and we all, energy costs keep expanding on us. If you did not do the LED changeover within the facility, what type of return on investment would you have experienced with the solar panels as a standalone?
Well, the solar panels as a standalone was far better because of the tax credits the state of Maryland gave. So
okay,
the solar
so tax credits mean money out of Marylanders' pocketbooks to subsidize your panels.
Same as tax credits for public education.
I understand that.
You want to go talk about public education?
No, we're on energy right now. We might have public education later.
Okay, we're going to talk about something else then you'll be for it. So, no, I don't see that that's going to be a problem. Coming out of Maryland, there's pockets. Something's going to come out of our pockets. You're going to give up part of your salary every month anyway.
We also have federal mandates, to be fair. There's federal mandates incentivizing the state along with. And there's energy tax credits going across state borders, and that's how we lower our costs of.
Yeah.
So New Jersey might actually be producing the power, and it's coming to Maryland. As long as they're using clean energy, that's what their goal is for that 25% number here by 2020.
Yeah. Wasn't it just announced of 187 acres of solar panels in Washington County and the EB farm up close to
and I know the neighbors there aren't particularly happy about it either.
No, the neighbors weren't happy with the one that John Barr's putting in down closer to where Wilbur's used to be in that area, down off of Salem Avenue Extended. So, there's a lot of things people aren't upset with. And in one place, one person can do it and it's okay. Another person does and it isn't okay. I don't see this as a Republican governor, Democratic House and Senate problem. I see it as, what do we do to bring in alternative energy and not be dependent on foreign oil?
Well, I mean, we also have coal, so we're not, and we don't have to be dependent on foreign oil because the pipelines are getting ready to flow here as soon as they get all the permitting done.
You
'cause
mean the
that's
pipelines
expedited.
that the oil goes to Japan
Oh, it could be, but we'll make money and generate money for the economy.
and sell it to someone else?
Exactly.
And-
But one of the things with the solar panels, and listen, I'm all for green, is, I've talked to some people in the industry, and sometimes the return on investment is forecast to be, 5, 6, 7 years down the road, when we're looking at a usable life of the device of somewhere between 15 to 20 years. So it takes a long time to regain that capital that you've put the upfront investment, even with the tax rebates. So that's why I was posing that question to you. I mean,
Yeah.
if all Marylanders switched over to LED lights and we had solar panels on our roof, we wouldn't need Potomac Edison, BG&E.
Well, since you're so close with the Goodwill Project, can you use that as an example? When are they expected to have a return on their investment for?
It'll be
all the
well
solar
over $1 million
panels?
in 20 years, well over
20.
$1 million, plus it cuts the cost way back now. And it's for us, it adds where we can put the money into programs for the very clients that we serve.
Are you using a metering system so surplus power goes back into the grid?
Yes.
Reverse metering, I think is what they
Yes.
call it. Okay.
And you also, if the sun's not out, like tomorrow
Tomorrow.
it snows all day long, you come back and you pull off the grid.
You're not going to get the broom out and sweep down the solar panels?
We may have, I may be out there as chairman of the board doing that so we save money.
Okay, there you go.
And that the return to the grid, does that happen immediately?
Yes, yes,
The meter spins both ways.
yes.
So, when they're drawing and they're not producing enough, like during the evening hours, that the meter's costing them money. During the daylight hours, bright sunlight during the summertime, it's going to be spinning the opposite direction, hopefully, or at least not as fast. And then they can save some expenses that way.
You see, Volvo's done the same thing, and they've used land. They couldn't use their roof at Volvo. We could at Goodwill, because our roof was on an angle that we could do it. All we had to do was shore up 12 points within the structure itself that they could handle solar panels the whole way out to the edge of the roof. So
Now,
we did that.
were the solar panels made here in Maryland, or were they in
We
US?
did have a Maryland company that did all the work for us.
Okay.
And the Maryland tax credits, we had the large firm out of Baltimore, Cole Roofing, that did our roofing for us because there wasn't anybody local that really could go on to the size project, plus put the solar panels all at the same time. The answer is yes.
Okay.
Well, Ron, thank you for sharing all of that
Yes.
with me. That's an exciting project, and anxious to see how it all turns out in the next 20 years.
Yeah, and it's all in place. So businesses are welcome to come out, see how Goodwill did it. John McCain would be elated to
Great.
take you through the process of what we did. And it's his first big project when he came from Alabama.
Great. Well, that's going to wrap up that segment. Up next, our panel takes a closer look at President Trump's ban on Muslim immigrants. We're back in 3 minutes.